X-Men 97 is finally coming out on Disney Plus soon, and we thought what better way to welcome it than with a video covering everything you need to know before you watch X-Men 97. So just starting off with season 1 of X-Men 92 or X-Men the animated series, which is arguably, and I don't think really disputed, one of the best Marvel animated shows out there. And I especially think that is because of the first season. And honestly, right out of the bat, introducing us with Jubilee and the Sentinels, I do not think it could have been a stronger start. I think this show has a really powerful cast of characters and they have really great voice actors. And I think with any other characters, even in the Marvel roster, the dialogue and the script could have just been tossed away as being really cheesy and over the top. But because it's X-Men and the actors they got to go along with it, they pulled it off pretty well. And I mean, very apparent from episode 1. I mean, Storm's lines in particular, everyone has their own little jokes and their unique, quirky personalities. It all ties together really nicely, and somehow it all works together, which you really wouldn't expect. And surprisingly, I didn't know this was made by Saban, which also makes sense given the cheesy dialogue.
This is one of those. There are two top animated shows for me, in my opinion. Batman the animated series and X-Men the animated series. You could say that Spider-Man the animated series falls in a third place. They're very good for two reasons. They're groundbreaking, and I'm not just throwing that word out there. They really are groundbreaking. The stuff that's in this show is very, very, very adult, very mature. It very much does its best. I would say it's as good as a of
Yeah.
any comic book adaptation that we're going to get. They are the only ones to ever have gotten the Phoenix Saga correct. Say what you want.
Yeah.
The animation is good. The voice acting is really good. The characters are what if you read comics, they are what they are in the comics.
Absolutely.
Rogues here, you have Jubilee, you have Wolverine. It's very difficult for you to not have at least one or two favorites in this show.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can watch this show and walk away with at least one favorite. I have three.
Who
Um,
are they?
Angel or Archangel, Gambit, and Magneto. I love Magneto's iteration of this show. He's very comic book Magneto. The dynamic between him and Charles Xavier is definitely there. I love the design of Magneto. The entire look. The voice actor is phenomenal. His monologues are just great. I was
Yeah.
very happy to see him in the show. I love the Sentinels. As a kid, I was blown away with this. My brother and I had most of the action figures, the Toy Biz action figures from this. I remember my brother had that big ass Sentinel that you could trap an X-Men in
That's
there
so cool.
at the gimmick, and I just fell in love with this show. I remember when it opened. I remember Night of the Sentinels,
Yeah.
the two very first episodes, and I was blown away. Spoiler alert: Morph dies in the first, two episodes. I just
Which is huge.
remember thinking as a kid, and this is why I keep mentioning Batman the Animated Series, because these are two, although Fox Kids animated shows, they're still very much grown up TV shows. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you remember the Two-Face arc or the Clayface arc, and here, Morph gets killed in the first episode. There's a lot of prejudice and
A lot of adult
you know
themes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we all know that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the X-Men as a metaphor for, a lot of things that were going on in that era. And it plays really well. Even as a kid, you were like, that sucks that these people are hated. And then you have very opposing sides, like Xavier
Hmm.
trying to be like, hey, we could all live in peace. Wolverine's like, and Magneto's like, no, no, these guys are never going to accept us. We have to, get rid of them.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think the first season is the most grounded, but
Yeah, definitely.
also the one that hits the most because of the Sentinels, because of Trask, because of Gyrick, and then
Because
Magneto gets thrown in there. And I just I remember when the movie started coming out, I was like, why can't they just go and do what they did in the fucking animated show?
exactly, especially it's like they spend less time in the show with a much smaller budget. It's ridiculous, but I definitely agree. First season's a lot more grounded, and I know it's Marvel and X-Men, but a lot more realistic. I mean, these villains are realistic, especially when you start getting to the Friends of Humanity. But I also don't mean to, I swear this wasn't scripted, but for Edward's point about everyone having their different favorite characters, my top three aren't even on the ones he listed. Mine's Storm, Wolverine, and Cable.
Oh,
It's
I've
just
yeah, Cable's always been dear to me, but he it's just the Gambit, and to me, Gambit,
yeah. I
Archangel, and
mean,
Magneto steal the show. But yeah,
yeah,
Cable
absolutely. I don't
is
definitely get what you're
phenomenal in this
saying.
show. Which is there's a funny thing that Griff and I were talking about it. It's funny. This animation's 20 plus years old,
It's
and
30 years old.
there's a there's fans, there's casual fans, and then there's people like us who like nitpick like every
I'm
single
about to
scene.
nitpick so many things.
And I was telling Griff, I was like, the first time we see Cable, he doesn't have a cybernetic arm, and then the very
Yep.
next couple of times we see him, he does.
Yeah.
It could just it could just be animation failure. It could just be like the attention to detail. Maybe he time jumped. I don't know. At this point, they can come up with any explanation, but it's just
My
those little
theory.
things that, as
Yeah.
hardcore fans, you'll notice. You'll be like, wait a minute, no.
Yeah, no, my theory was with it is that with season one, I don't think they knew they were going to get season two and if it was going to be that as big as it was, and they didn't want to go overboard yet. So they wanted to keep things grounded. And with Cable in season one, which he really shouldn't have been, let's be honest here. The story they had him in didn't really fit the character. And yeah, he doesn't have the metallic arm because I think they're just trying to have Cable in there, but not have it be Cable per se. Because there's a lot of like background characters that you're able very easily able to recognize that are there just to say they're in the show, but they're not really in the show. Very similar to like X-Men 3 Last Stand. We're like, yeah, sure, Sunspot's in the show, but is he really in the show?
There's a lot of continuity issues. I mean, as they got a lot of stuff right.
Yeah,
Phoenix
they
Saga,
got more things right than they got wrong,
Wolverine's whole backstory, and
which was
you
so
know,
good.
but there is a lot of continuity issues. Like there are flashbacks with the original team
Yeah,
that in various episodes, and in the original team, we clearly see Iceman, Beast in human form, if you will,
and Angel.
Angel, and when they meet Warren Worthington, Angel, it's almost like he doesn't know who the fuck they are.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, he doesn't.
he
He
doesn't
has
know.
no idea who the fuck they are. And there's a couple of other things like that too, where when they first meet Magneto, I'm okay with Wolverine not knowing who that dude is,
Yeah,
but Cyclops, Jean, and Beast should immediately know who he. And when he meets Beast,
yeah,
it's almost like, who are you? And there's this whole that kind of stuff rubbed me the wrong way, but I still had a lot of fun with it as a kid, and I remember how big it was
hmm.
almost overnight.
Oh yeah,
The promotion for X-Men was all over the damn place. And I was already hyped because I had already read a ton of X-Men comics. And I remember the Saturday morning trailers and just they just Fox Kids coming and blah blah blah. And when it finally premiered, it blew up. First of all, Fox had no. So I'll agree with Griff. Now as an adult, of course, we can Google and read all this shit. But as a children, I had no idea what I didn't even know what ratings was. I just wanted to
yeah.
watch the show. But Fox had no hope for it because at the time it was, I'm going to piss some people off here, but it was corporate white moms of America that, they would just call up uh stations and be like, no, you got to take that off. You can't. I remember the Ninja Turtles, they were allowed to have their weapons, but never actually use them
Hmm.
because, moms were like, my kid can't see that shit." So there was a lot of stuff that, a lot of moms were like, hey, how violent is this show going to be? Like, certain things can't be on it. So Fox Kids was like, let's
And they
let's
handled
just
it
see how
so
it does.
well.
It
Like
it
even
blew up almost overnight. I remember it premiered on a Saturday morning, and you had to wait, or at least where I was, because I saw this. We were in Angel Grove, California when this show premiered. I was living there at the time, and it premiered. Night of the Sentinels Part One premiered Saturday morning. We had to wait an entire weekend for the next episode to premiere. But by the time the second episode had premiered, I guess their numbers were so big that they had already ordered season two,
It's
and
impressive.
it just was like, for me, X-Men already existed
Hmm.
because I knew about it, and there was a toy line. There was, you could have like a Wolverine without his helmet and things like that. So I already knew who most of these characters were, but this show really put them on the map. All of a sudden, like within a month or so of this show, these dudes were on cereal boxes, lunchbox. I mean, every kid at school had a X-Men t-shirt. I remember girls used to rock their X-Men That's how big this shit was. It was all over the damn place.
I mean, why wouldn't it be? X-Men's
And
fantastic.
no, yeah, it was a phenomenal show. It was really groundbreaking. And every episode, I've seen every single episode. And there are episodes now, because Griff and I both just rewatched it, where I'll skip them because I'm
Yeah,
just like, funny enough, he mentioned Storm. I hated Storm in X-Men the Animated
really.
Series. It was just, I didn't understand why when she used her power she had to chant them out. She's like,
Yeah, no, that
that
yeah,
shit got old
but what won
the
me
third time she
over,
did it.
what really won me over was the episode with Bishop going back to
I know what you're talking about.
1959.
Mohawk,
Yeah,
Mohawk Storm
that, but I liked the dynamic and the relationship Wolverine and
with
Storm
her.
had in that
Yeah,
episode. I thought that was
I
really
dig
nice, and I
Wolverine
I
and
wish
Storm.
there was yeah, I wish that was explored so much more. And I hope they do it in 97 because Wolverine has his issues, yes. But I think this is the most character development we've seen from him was
Oh
in
yeah,
that episode.
for
And I
all of them,
was
really. If
oh,
you think about
absolutely.
it, the if you ask anybody who doesn't really read comics and who's seen a couple X-Men episodes, they're like, "Oh, Gambit's just some dude with cards. He's a thief and he's an expert martial artist." And there's an episode arc where they go
It was a
to
good one too.
Louisiana. We get introduced to his family, to his clan. Those two episodes are fucking great.
Like all
And
of the background around these characters I thought were great. I do wish maybe we got at least maybe one episode. We got like a like 3 minutes with Storm and the Shadow King when she was a child. But I mean, other than that, we pretty much got the background on every single character, which is pretty impressive. I mean, some of them are better than others, absolutely. I mean, Night of the Living Sentinels is hard to top pretty much everyone. I
that's
mean, Wolverine had like
that
six
scene at the mall.
episodes.
Like,
It's
you
so
get most
good.
of your X-Men in that episode.
Yeah.
It starts off really cool. Gambit's, in there being a player. I
Gambit's
didn't know
so
much
cool.
about Gambit before X-Men the animated series, to be honest. I knew who
I
Wolverine
don't think
was. I
many
knew
people did.
I yeah, exactly. And I was a kid that read comics. I just wasn't, you know, like, I hadn't been introduced, or at least not properly introduced, to Gambit until X-Men the animated series. And I remember
Mhm.
vividly, he's at the mall, he's shopping for cards, and he's flirting with the chick at the counter, and the way he saves Jubilee, or tries to save Jubilee, and then Cyclops is waiting. I just remember Cyclops being outside of the mall in full decked out X-Men costume, and he blows a hole through the damn Sentinel, which I just,
It
as a
was
kid, you
cool.
can't see that and be like, holy shit, I want to be an X-Men. That it doesn't,
Yeah.
you can't. It doesn't happen. Like, it's myself and my brother and two sisters, and all of us wanted to be X-Men. And
Oh, I still want to be an
I
X-Man.
remember I graduated, I gravitated more towards Magneto for some reason, because I just thought, I was like, well, he's right. I was, I don't know, 12, and I just kept thinking, I was like, nah, he's right. Xavier doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And even then, later on in the comics and with the movies, I've always thought, there's Magneto's very right. He just goes about it the wrong way. I've always kind of,
Yeah.
and his powers are really fucking cool.
I mean, Asteroid M in concept, absolutely solid. It would 100% work. It's just, well, you have to deal with people. People unpredictable and chaotic. But no, I mean, as Edward was getting to, like the character dynamics between all of them was fantastic. Rogan Gambit were my
I love
I
Rogan Gambit,
loved every
which is
scene they were
why
together.
fuck the movies.
Yeah,
I
100%.
this
Yeah.
whole I mean, Anna Paquin, I think, was a fine rogue. Um, I never liked her being paired up with fucking Iceman. It's just,
Yeah, it's just
it wasn't there for me. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
they didn't
Like
have
it
the
just,
chemistry, the actors didn't have the dynamic together, but
it's
it's
just
so
Gambit
much
is so full of, you know,
charm,
charm
personality, suave.
and the idea that they couldn't have Gambit in the movies because he was so much like Wolverine still doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
No,
Wolverine and
Fox is
Gambit are
high. They're
completely different personas.
And if you don't believe us, go
Um,
watch this show.
And I
Absolutely.
really do like seeing Gambit and Wolverine on screen
Yeah.
together. It's just the dynamic between those two characters. They have such huge personalities that it works.
I
And when
mean,
they team up
who in X-Men
together,
doesn't have a
it's
huge
awesome.
personality? I feel like everyone has a huge personality. Sure, some are smaller than
Beast,
others.
Beast,
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Morph,
Uh,
Storm. I mean, Storm is great. She's extremely, which they downplay her powers because
they have to downplay
again,
everyone's powers.
she can control the fucking weather. So that
Yeah.
alone is just, you know, Storm shouldn't be afraid of two punk ass Sentinels. She just show up and
Yeah. But I did
hurricane their
like
ass.
how they added her claustrophobia just so
Yep.
she is like more human, a lot more relatable, better storytelling.
I have to have a live action Storm with blue eyes. I just have to.
I could do that or
That's
like a cloudy gray.
I want those blue eyes.
Yeah. I mean, there's
That white
there's
hair, that tone of skin color, that white hair, which is why I
the
hated X-Men
color
Apocalypse because she doesn't start. Apocalypse gives her white hair. God, that was stupid as hell.
and Apocalypse in
Uh,
this show is actually pretty great.
yeah, no, he's Apocalypse and Michael Myers, and I just they were those they just can't fucking die. They just can't get rid of
Yeah.
these guys. That's how I put them up there. He was just evil, and
Yeah.
there
Evil
wasn't a
personified.
there wasn't a reason as to why I've had this elaborate plot. No, I just want to rule the world and I just want to fuck shit up.
And his arc in season one I thought was very well done. Even though like Age of Apocalypse getting it in season one may not be your first choice, they did it very well. We got the Horseman, got Archangel. Maybe it would have been nice to see Angel before Archangel, but
We kind of saw him.
yeah, kinda. But I think it set a lot of things up, especially with Mystique and Rogue. In this, their mother, adoptive daughter. They have set up Apocalypse, goes through all of these seasons. I'd be surprised if we don't see him in the next one.
Oh, I'm sure he's coming back.
I would think so.
They
But
hinted towards it at, in season 5. So
oh God, I hate season five. I hate season five
you know
so
what? I
much.
don't hate it.
I can't. Okay, I guess I'll better just get into it now. Disney Plus has done me so dirty. This app has been out for what, 6 years?
I was
Something
gonna
like
say
that.
3, but I think you're right.
I'm pretty. It's like 5 or 6 years, and I knew this at some point, and I forgot. So learn from my mistakes. The X-Men episodes from season 3 to season 5 are out of order. Google which order to watch them in, because I didn't, and that made me dislike a lot of the last half of the show
See,
because
I don't dislike
things
it because of that. I dislike it more for your second reason. The animation
it's
and the
oh yeah, I was
stories.
gonna get there, but I mean it's just like I don't have an issue with it being out of order because I can easily piece things together. It's just the emotional impact definitely lacked because it was watched out of order. Some things didn't make sense, which is fine. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But also just in the later seasons, the story started to lack, as were about to say. The animation, I don't know what happened to their budget,
Oh, I do.
but it
There's an
was
X-Men animated documentary where they lost their original contract with their animators
it
and
got
they
so
hired
bad.
almost last minute they hired a new animation studio. And to be fair, I don't think
It's
quality.
not.
Like it's not that the animation is horrible. It's just that the time the new studio was given to say, hey, we need X amount of episodes,
So
they
I
had
guess,
almost put together shit, not overnight, but they had less
yeah.
time than a normal studio would have.
Okay, I guess here, getting a lot more into it. Yeah,
It looks
I
like something
definitely
out of a
agree.
coloring book.
It does. The animation's a lot less detailed. Even the microphone quality has somehow gone down, which doesn't make sense considering technology is supposed to get better over time. But one thing I also don't like about season five is that a lot of the episodes were supposed to be in earlier seasons, but because of time and just they weren't finished in time, they all got pushed back to season five, even though some of them were supposed to be in like season two, season three. And so season five wasn't as much of a cohesive story as much in comparison to the previous seasons, which I didn't like. And it gave us I'm exaggerating here. I'm sure I can name a worse series finale, but it gave us one of the worst series finales out there. I
No, I
Yeah,
I
I could
don't think
definitely
it's.
name some,
I
but
mean, there's Game of
it's bad.
Thrones and
Yes.
there's
No. I think this is actually on par with Game of
no.
Thrones.
I think you're being
No,
very
no,
on.
no, no.
Well, it's just
Okay. Let me get into it then. I definitely don't think I think it's definitely on level of Game of Thrones purely because this episode is lame. It's lame and it doesn't make sense. The way they killed off Charles Xavier. Okay,
oh, he
quote
doesn't die.
unquote killed him off. Yeah, he's permanently living with the Shi'ar now, which he'll be back. I wish he isn't, but he'll probably be back. Probably be back. But the
And
way
then
that
die.
happened was awful. Like that doesn't work the way that does, and it shouldn't have worked that way. He's been in a lot more peril, so the way it happened seemed like a big disservice to the character. And the fact that we got Magneto's war in 18 minutes. I know we're getting it now.
Well, there was never
No,
really a war.
not I know, but we're going to get it now. But the fact that the finale, especially with all these great arcs, like we have Phoenix, we have Days of Future Past, which is probably the best one. We have so many great arcs, and just the way that it ended in comparison to the rest of the show just felt really hollow because it was very anticlimactic. They could have done so much more that it just didn't seem right. And it's like, this is really how you're going to end your show. Like after five pretty good years, it just seemed really lackluster. And there was really no threat or I just didn't like it. I struggled to get through the last three episodes because I was so done with with season five.
I I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't think it's hard to put something up there with Game of Thrones season finale. Yeah, I mean that shit was atrocious.
Was
I
like
do get what you're saying. I didn't feel the threat level. I was kind of disappointed that it starts off like maybe we're gonna finally get Magneto to rally his troops. You kind of see a
at
little bit
least now
of
we get it now, but
guerrilla. I don't know if we are. If we are, it
probably
could just
not.
be a couple of scenes. Guerrilla warfare, and then I do agree the way he gets bedridden is just doesn't make it never made
It's
sense to
lame.
me. Him going to with the Shi'ar, I don't mind because I
No,
just
that's
thought him
okay.
and
No,
Lilandra should always happen.
yeah, that's
I don't want him
fine.
back. If he does come
No, he
back, I
shouldn't
feel
be
like he
back.
should die
He should come back for maybe an episode, if at
and then
all.
die.
Yeah,
I will say
he
this
doesn't
in
need to be
defense of
back.
season five. I do really like the Sinister episode
Yeah.
and the episode with Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America episode was good. Sinister episode was good. I liked the Wolverine stuff. I don't know. It was just
Those are the ones that I like. The rest
yeah,
is
they're not
yeah.
great. I mean, the Storm front wasn't great. Phalanx wasn't bad. Doesn't need to be two parts though.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It just after season two, I think it started to go a little bit downhill for me. It was still really good in season three, but it peaked in season two, I think. And then season four and five, it's just started going downhill pretty fast. And the animation of this show, I don't know why the show hasn't been remastered yet. I feel like out of any animation show, this out of pretty much any of them should have been remastered by now, especially with the new one coming out.
I guess just maybe expense, just cost and effect.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too, considering a lot of people still watch it. It's just this isn't a bad thing. It's old animation, I understand, but some of it really makes me laugh. In season one, there are so many scenes when, because of Wolverine's suit is yellow, the animators animated his skin yellow, which I just thought was funny. And there are a lot of, especially towards the end of the show, there are a lot of frames. As like in the Iceman show, Wolverine is frozen by Iceman, and then Iceman is blasted, but they forgot to remove the rendering of Wolverine, so he's still in frame even though he shouldn't be. And I just thought that was funny. Okay, actually, the season finale is bad, but I think the thing that kind of rubs me the most with this show is, given the budget and the animation, why did they have real life special effects sometimes in PowerPoint presentation transition slides? That didn't make any sense and looked so out of place, right? Like that was
I don't know.
weird.
I guess maybe time restraints, like I said, this was groundbreaking stuff for the time, and
Yeah. I am
they could
being a
say
bit
whatever
hard
they
on it probably.
and they could say whatever they want now, but they had no idea. It's kind of like Power Rangers. You
Yeah.
know, they had no idea that it was going to work. The only one that had any faith in it was Hyman Saban, because everyone else at Fox was like, I mean, dude, you're taking Japanese footage, mixing it with American footage. That shit's not gonna work. Again, fucking overnight success. I mean, that
Yeah.
shit was a hit from the pilot episode. As the seasons progressed, it just, started going downhill. But it's just one of these things that, Batman the animated series, Fox didn't want it. They were like, I mean,
Crazy.
you can't punch anybody. And you're like, well, that's that's kind of the whole point.
I
My
think
bar is super high for 97,
absolutely.
and I hope I'm not let down. But it's only high
We'll
because of
see.
the level of quality that we got in season one and season two,
Yeah.
and the character, the rogues, the characters, the villains that we got. We got Mr. Sinister, who I always thought as a kid was just creepy as fuck.
He was.
And that's why I
It's
really like that episode in season five where, essentially his origin story and stuff like that, which in the
yeah.
comics, a lot of that has to do with Apocalypse. Like Apocalypse really like, bioengineers him and they get into, I mean, both of those guys are really wacky. They're really into like experimenting with the living and the future and God knows what. Um, but we'll see. I am really excited for what's coming. I have no fucking idea. I've only seen one trailer. I
Oh, I
haven't
skipped
seen
that trailer. No, no, no,
anything,
I
but
think
it
like
looks great. The
yeah.
animation has changed. It isn't what we
Yes.
got in the first season. It's not what we got in season five, thank God. We have most of the voice cast back, which is I think is super dope.
I agree.
Um, so I'm very, very excited. I cannot wait for that show to start. I know it's 10 episodes, which is awesome.
Well, season two's already been confirmed, so I guess let's jump right into that then. What do you want to see out of X-Men 97? Because I know for X-Men 92, obviously it came out from 92 to 97. So there's been 30 years of X-Men development, and a lot of new X-Men characters have become very popular since then. Is there anything in
House of M,
particular? Is there anything in particular you want to see in 97? We
House
also
of
know
M.
that Mr. Sinister is going to be the main villain. But yeah, House of
I,
M would
I,
be good. I
I
want to
want
see
to see
Kitty
more
Pryde.
Magneto, but Magneto done right. I wouldn't
Isn't
mind
he on
seeing.
the team now?
I
I think he's
mean,
on the team, which we'll see how that goes and how long that lasts.
yeah, that's just not gonna last.
Yeah.
More Gambit and Rogue. I can take all the Gambit and Rogue you can throw at me.
Oh yeah.
Archangel, like I just want to see Archangel
We'll
join the team.
see.
Like I don't
I don't think
see
he's
why
going
he's
to. We
not.
have too many characters.
Yeah, you can kill someone off.
I hope so, because I mean that was one thing from
You can kill two
92.
people off, and I'm perfectly solid with it.
Yeah. I mean, that was like one thing with 92 is they had such a large roster of characters that for most of the episodes, you're going to have to cut out some of those characters. But for a lot of the times, it always seemed to be the same characters, which is a little bit disappointing instead of mixing it up. Because I know
Yeah,
before
mix
you
that shit
wanted
up.
like Iceman to join, you want Angel to join. X-Men
I'm fine
X-Men
without
character
Iceman because
roster?
we've
Yeah,
gotten him a lot. Angel, well, at this point, Archangel, have him join the team. You could always throw some more episodes in there with Colossus because I thought they did
true.
Colossus solid in the
I want
animated
some
series.
magic because we
You
saw
know
her in
who I could take?
92, but
I could get more Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is very
Nightcrawler was
fun.
solid. That
What
was
they
a good
did with
episode.
Nightcrawler
That
in
was
his
really
episodes,
good.
like where he's in Germany, he's at that monastery, and the way they approach religion, which is I always like
Hmm.
a non-believer with a believer, and the believer
Yeah,
like not being pushy, which I got exactly with Nightcrawler and Wolverine. And
yeah.
Nightcrawler was just like, "Hey, dude, I'll pray for you, and here's a Bible." And seeing Wolverine at least, going through it at the end, I thought that was cool. It wasn't pushy. The whole episode wasn't about, still X-Men. It was still action packed, but
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's Catholic, so you got to throw it in there.
Hmm.
But I thought his look is so cool, and the way they did it, I don't know. Nightcrawler's always a
Good
fun
voice
one.
actor too. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
that's
Yeah,
fucking great.
I want to see Kitty Pryde. I wonder if they're gonna go for some of the bigger ones. I wonder if they're gonna bring in Legion. I know they did it in X-Men Evolutions. We'll see if they do it here. It's not actually I lied. They're not gonna do Legion. They should not do Legion actually. Charles isn't there. They already did an arc with Mora and her kid. They don't need Legion. I mean, there's a lot of cool mutants that have been introduced, and
I want to see more of Scarlet Witch and
yeah,
Quicksilver and Polaris, which we did
yes,
not see in the original show.
we
Well, yeah, we did.
yes,
We did, but it was just that
yes,
one
but
Iceman
no.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of cool things I think they can do. I'm really excited for Sinister because they've kind of just barely scratched the surface. And one thing that we've been comparing this a lot to Batman the Animated Series that they've also done here is they've changed some things from the comics, which totally worked here. But I wonder if they're going to bring back the Phoenix Force, considering how many comics arc it's been since the Phoenix Saga. Because I mean, seeing Kid Omega could be kind of cool, or but I don't know if they should, or at least not in the first season. Maybe like this goes on
I
for
think
three more seasons.
the way they handled the Phoenix Saga, I'd be perfectly okay with them not
Yeah,
ever
that's
bringing
kind of what
that
I'm
entity
thinking so
back.
too, considering it's
Because
not really a cosmic entity right now.
they they told it perfectly. And
Yeah.
if they bring it back, I'm afraid they'll just fuck that up.
What I want, which I think would be cool, maybe for season two, because we've seen like Avengers vs. X-Men a lot, but I think one thing in the comics that's kind of been overshadowed, they've brought them into the MCU at one point, but bringing in the Inhumans and the difference between Inhumans versus X-Men, I think could be a pretty cool arc. If they're
Yeah,
going to
that or
start
the
to branch
Fantastic
out,
Four.
yeah, if they're going to branch out to more of this universe, because we do see a lot of glimpses into the other characters. We saw Iron Man, we saw Ant-Man, Giant Man Wasp. We saw Captain America, as we said. We saw a lot of characters for like brief periods of times. Maybe making it more of a connected universe, because I'm 100% certain if X-Men 97 does well, we are getting season 6 of the animated Spider-Man series. I have no
Yep.
doubt in my mind, because that was planned and canceled. I bet they still want to do it. The producer had an interview and said they still want to. I'm convinced they're going to do it.
I'd be
If
happy
it's,
to.
yeah. I am happy they're bringing back more of them, doing more of him, and they are changing his look to more of the now comics because I just think that looks pretty cool. And I'm excited to see more of him. I think it should be fun, especially with the change dynamic of Scott like doing the Charles Xavier role. I think that should be pretty interesting.
I'm okay if they kill Morphin Beast.
I think yes, yeah. Well, actually, no.
Because
I don't
from
think they can't kill. I don't know if they can kill Morph again.
I mean like kill him, but like leave him dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think if they want, I think they're gonna kill characters off. Wolverine. Okay, they're
I
not
don't
going
think so.
to, but I think they should.
No
Or
way.
Gambit makes sacrifice play for Rogue.
Mm,
That
that
it would
may
be
happen,
good. It would
or
be
vice
good.
versa.
Or the
But
vice versa.
Wolverine's not going
No,
anywhere.
he's too popular. But no, I think Gambit or Rogue would be a good one to do. They're not gonna do Cyclops. Not gonna do Jean.
I don't know.
They already killed off Jean, so I don't think they can.
I
But
mean,
then
like,
again, I've been
but
proven wrong
like
before.
permanently
I know. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, all of this should be like permanently killed because I do want them to make room for new characters just because of how
Or
big the
at
X-Men
least
roster is.
outgrow the X-Men and take off. Scott and
Yeah, yeah.
Jean.
Okay, having them move on, I think would
Yeah,
be
because
better.
in the comics, that's what happens with the original team is you go from
Yeah.
X-Men to Uncanny X-Men, and then you
hmm
get
All
the
new.
roster just changes up all the time. So that's I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the
I'm.
roster changing up.
I mean, they could easily kill off Jean because I'm pretty sure we have Madeline Pryor at the moment.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking at
Or
least.
Sto if Storm gets killed, I won't mind either.
Yeah, but I think right
Or
now we have.
Jubilee.
Yeah, but I
I
think
don't see Kitty Pryde being in there without Jubilee getting whacked. I don't see it.
I just
I
want
don't
it for
see the
like an
point.
episode or two. But yeah, no, you're right. There is very little point to do it. I think they could, thinking more about it with Sinister and Jean, they probably could kill off Jean.
They gotta kill
But
her
then
off.
if, hmm?
They gotta kill her off.
Yeah. Do you think they were going to bring in Emma Frost to replace her, or is that a little too on the nose?
I I I want to see more of Emma because I love Emma, but I know because it's been spoiled because of toys and stuff that Madeline's in there, so I don't know.
I mean, we will see her pregnant in the trailer, but yeah, I mean, what about X-23?
Yeah, I could have her in there.
Because I think that one would be fun, especially with what they've done with the Weapon X program. And one character that's a bit unknown that they are introducing, who's supposed to be playing somewhat of a major role, is the X-Cutioner. And just a little bit about him is he is in his name is Carl Denton. He's an FBI agent whose partner Fred Duncan worked very closely with the X-Men. Essentially, his job was whenever there's like alien tech, his job is to put it into a warehouse and stash it just so it doesn't get onto the streets and stuff like that. But when Duncan died, his partner Carl Dente, Executioner, got all these cases and eventually found out about what he was doing for the X-Men. And then very similar to Vigilante from DC, he believes that mutants have caused a lot of unnecessary damage and are going around unpunished. So what he does is he takes possession of a lot of this alien technology, and if the name Vigilante wasn't taken, he essentially just becomes a vigilante, just very similar to Punisher S style, where he punishes those who have kind of just been getting away with things for too long, but just with mutants, which I can definitely see work into this new season, given all the property damage and everything that the X-Men has done and gone away with. I think he will fit in very well with the show. In the comics, he's usually equipped with like Shi'ar battle armor, which still works here. And he has this high-tech computer glasses visor. It's an ocular device where it's very similar to the Sentinel technology, which I'm guessing it's probably where he's going to get it from in the show, where he's able to identify mutant and non-mutant based on their DNA strands. Doesn't make any sense in real life, but it's what we got. I think he can definitely play a part in the show, especially if they're going to go for a darker tone, considering as I mean, people have grown up with this show. This show probably isn't targeted towards elementary school, middle school kids anymore. They could probably even go a little bit darker. I think he's going to fit a little bit well. I think he's going to fit pretty well. And I think he can play very nicely with Sinister still being the villain.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get like I think as Griff said, it's gonna be centered around Sinister, and we're gonna
Yeah.
get some minor episodes with this Executioner guy. Hey, I'm excited to see Sentinels back. I know they're back. I don't know if
Yeah.
they're back in a big way or it's just flashbacks or a couple of episodes. I don't know. I mean,
I kind of
I have
hope not, just considering they've done so much with them.
I just don't really see the Sentinel problem going away.
No, it never will. But I don't think they need to have like Sentinel centric arcs. I think if they go come in and out or like other characters utilize them, totally fine. But
Yeah.
I don't need to have the Sentinels be the main antagonist of an arc. I don't think anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Trying to think if there's any sort of reason why we would need them. But I don't think so. They've done pretty much everything you can with them from the comics, and even then some more. I don't think they're. I think it'll be really cool to see though, just because they're such a big part of X-Men lore that just I am certain we're going to get Sentinels, Sinister, Apocalypse, Magneto for sure. All of the big bads that we've seen previously in this new style, fresh animation, just because it's revamped and they want to see it done, draw people in. I definitely think that's what's going to happen. But I'm also looking forward to hopefully them doing some new things because some of the storylines, especially towards the end, have gone a little bit repetitive. But they've been sitting for 30 years. And there's had a lot of great comics come out since then. I think we could probably get some pretty good content. We already have season 2 confirmed and it's in production. It wouldn't surprise me if this goes on for another 3 or 4 seasons.
I hope so. I have big hopes for it, so I hope it does well. Because
Yeah,
as you said, final thoughts. If it does well, we get that final season of Spider-Man.
I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you guys enjoyed this video, please click on this video right up here. And as always, we'll see you guys next time.